Well, in this video, let's talk about Chiefs versus Bengals. Some standout plays, both good and bad, and reflect on the Chiefs losing 3 times to the Bengals in the same exact year. But first, how about those? What's up, guys? My name is Cole, and I do daily news about the Kansas City Chiefs. So make sure to sub if you're new, hit that like button, blah, blah, blah. Let's get into this video because I got to go to bed. So we're going to hurry this up. It's 1 a.m. I just watched the game for the second time in a row because I'm an absolute lunatic. Just took some notes, kind of soaked it all in. Win or lose, I just take it all in, good or bad. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video, starting with just an overview of the game. Patrick Mahomes, 16 for 27, 1 TD, 2 sacks. He was averaging 8.3 yards per reception. Joe Burrow, 25 for 33, 286. 9.2 yards per reception, 2 TDs, sacked once. Interesting to note, Joe Burrow, the 3rd most sacked QB in the NFL, only sacked once by the Chiefs D-line, who has the 5th most sacks in the entire NFL. There's just something about Joe Burrow, the Bengals, him being slippery, slithery, able to kind of wiggle himself out of the pocket when it breaks down and they're able to get some pressure. A weak showing at times from the D-line for sure, but we'll get into that later. Some other standout stuff, though. You had Pacheco, 14 carries for 66 yards, 4.7 yard per carry average, and a touchdown. Jerick McKinnon, 8 carries for 51. He was feasting on the ground, 6.4 yards per carry. And then in the air, Jerick McKinnon had a couple catches, but one was a TD catch for 7 yards, I believe. Either way, it was in the end zone there after the MVS drop. Jerick McKinnon caught the ball the very next play. MVS led the receiving room. And when I say led the receiving room, I'm not talking in total catches. He only had 2, but they were for 71 yards. Longest, 42, both on 3rd downs. One was on a 3rd and 10. That, I believe, was a 29-yarder. And then before that, I think on the same exact drive, 3rd and 7, 42-yard bomb. So MVS did have a couple tough drops, but he made a couple great catches, including the 29-yarder on the 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 10, whichever. It's the last one that happened in that drive. That was one of the best catches of the entire night by any Chiefs receiver. You love to see that. Nick Bolton led the team in tackles with 16. Juan Thornhill had 10. Josh Williams had 7. The only sack of the day was credited to George Karlaftis. Now, Joe Burrow was sliding to the ground. Karlaftis kind of hit him. He was already giving himself up, but hey, he got another sack, so let's go. The rookie, we'll give him a little one there. We'll give him a little one. Harrison Butker, 1 for 2 on the field goals, 3 for 3 PATs. Sadly, that one miss by Harrison Butker was the first miss in 2.5 games or so. He had 2 perfect games prior after missing either a PAT or a field goal like 4 games in a row after coming back from that ankle injury. A tough miss for him for sure. Then as far as team stats go, man, both teams had 8 drives. The Bengals had more first downs. The Chiefs were a little worse on 3rd down, 6 for 11. Bengals 7 for 11. But the Chiefs were 2 for 2 on 4th down conversions. Meanwhile, the Bengals 0 for 1. And that one time they went for it was on their own goal line near the end of the half, and we'll get more into that in a bit here. A bright spot for the Chiefs, they were 3 for 4 in the red zone after going 1 for 6 against the Rams. That's good. And another bright spot, if you can look at it this way, the Bengals were 3 for 7 in the red zone, and the Chiefs defense is not good against teams in the red zone. They give up a touchdown at one of the worst rates in the entire league. So for what it's worth, that was a good thing to see if we're looking at not moral victories, but just some positive takeaways from this game. Now, as far as injuries go, no real injuries in this game other than Mahomes' foot/ankle, which appears to be not a big deal. Per the words of Mahomes himself, thank God.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Coach Reed himself said Mahomes hurt his foot at the end, but it looks like he's going to be okay. I hope so, because if Mahomes goes down, I know anything is possible, but we need that man. Please protect him like your life depends on it. O-line, please. The other injury, or scare rather, was Juju Smith-Schuster. He got shook up on the 4th down play that he converted, was hit in the head a little awkwardly, was sent to the blue tent for evaluation, came back out though and finished the game. He appears to be fine. So that's really it for any additional injuries. But remember, Left guard Joe Tooney and wide receiver Kadarius Toney missed their second game in a row earlier, and McCole Hardman is still out on IR. And then also CEH is out on IR. And then safety Deion Bush did not play in this game either. But as far as some more thoughts on this game, we all saw it. It was a hard-fought game in which the Chiefs lost to the Bengals by 3 points for the third time in a row, all in the same year. Yeah. But something else I found interesting is Mahomes was also held under 300 yards passing in all 3 of these games as well. He threw for 223 yards tonight, snapping his streak of 6 300-plus yard games in a row. So you got to tip your cap, man, to the Bengals, their game plan, their defense. They've shown time and time again that they can limit Mahomes, who's used to throwing over 300 yards. It's not a problem. They've held him to under 300 in all 3 of their standoffs with Joe Burrow at the helm. As far as some offensive standouts go, we'll get some positives in here. Juju had some key plays, including a third down conversion, and later as well on a 4th and 4. MVS, man, he had a 42-yard catch on a 3rd and 7 and a 29-yard catch on 3rd and 10. Fantastic grabs by MVS, couple tough drops as well, but those catches were incredible, man. Pacheco had a couple of nice runs, including one for a TD on 3rd and 4 from the Bengals' 8-yard line in which he plowed through like a snowplow in a snowstorm for 6. McKinnon had some good runs as well, averaging whatever I said earlier, 6-point-something yards per carry. That was very nice. And then that TD catch of his own. And then later, Mahomes, this is a standout play, Air Jordan into the end zone on a 4th and goal from the 2.5-yard line like an absolute lunatic. Got spun around. I was scared for my life and his life and all of Chiefs Kingdom's life when he did this, but it worked. They got the TD. The crowd was booing, but the ball crossed the plane. It was clear. I understand why they're like, well, he was slipping out of his hands. I think it crossed the plane before any of that happened. Touchdown Kansas City. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the Chiefs lost the game, but that was a freaking crazy play by Patrick Mahomes. Some defensive standouts. Chiefs defense, they had a really nice stop near the goal line right before the end of the first half, which included back-to-back nice plays by Chris Jones. Then they stopped a QB sneak, then Dunlap, the former Bengal himself, blew up a reverse for a 3 or 4 yard loss and a turnover on downs right before the half, which was somewhat reminiscent, somewhat familiar, deja vu-ish. It's not a word, but to the ending of the half at the AFC Championship game in which the Chiefs failed to score as well at the goal line. The defense had its struggles, but one thing they did do was hold the Bengals to 3 and 7 in the red zone, which is an accomplishment considering that they struggle pretty mightily in allowing TDs in the red zone. But to be fair, Tyler Boyd dropped a wide open walk-in touchdown, his first or second drop only of the entire season. Either way, doesn't matter. I know, but we're just looking at some positive takeaways. Another one would be Trent McDuffie. Definitely a bright spot in the secondary on this defense. Bar none, that guy can lock just about anybody down. Now, here were some not so good things. You got to cover it all in a loss. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say these calls that the refs made were the reasons why the Chiefs lost. I'm about to go over a bunch of reasons why the Chiefs lost. But there were a couple ticky-tacky calls early on in the game. One was it was either a PI or a holding call on McDuffie in coverage with Jamar Chase. In that play, Juan Thornhill actually picked off Burrow and took it back to their 15-yard line. But alas, penalty KC. Call reversed. And then on the next play, I think it was, Taylor Stallworth got called for roughing the passer, which was a tough one too. I think either of those penalties, I guess, could have gone either way. So a bit of a bummer there. But overall, I think the Bengals had, 6 penalties for 65 yards and the Chiefs had 4 penalties for 35 yards. So we can't just say it was completely one-sided when the Bengals had more penalties than we did. And another thing that was not so good is after the smack that Justin Reed talked on social media, he was not able to back it up. At times, also got stiff-armed by a running back and ended up on his back. And it's just a lesson there. Andy Reid told him already, just don't talk. Go out there and put your effort out on the field and let that do the talking. Anyway, another couple things to look at. The team missed a lot of tackles. Bolton, Snead, Thornhill, others. Didn't really matter. It kind of happened multiple times on and off all game. Then Josh Williams had a rough game at times as well. He gave up the second touchdown to Higgins, a 40-yard catch to Jamar Chase at the end of the first half, and the game-winning third down conversion to Higgins. Now, he was nicely in coverage on that play, like a glove almost, but dude, it was just tough. tough to see. Great play by Burrow. Hats off to the Bengals. They're a really good team, and that's what I said in my preview. It's going to be a close game, and this is quite possibly one of the hardest teams that the Chiefs secondary is going to have to face. Their wide receiver trio is the real deal. Anyway, another negative, the D-line failed to get to Burrow many times once again tonight. As I shared earlier, Karlaftis did get 1 sack on him, but dude, Burrow is the 3rd most sacked QB in the NFL, and the Chiefs D-line, 5th in the league in sacks overall, or the Chiefs defense 5th overall in sacks, and they couldn't get to Burrow again. Unfortunate. Travis Kelce, another negative, I guess you could say. He had a bit of a slower night tonight. No catches in the first half. Started rolling in the second half, getting a couple plays going, and then fumbled. Later on in the game, it was a well-executed strip sack. I mean, just perfectly executed, stripped the ball away. Travis Kelce had both hands on it. Just a momentum shifter, to say the least. That was the Chiefs driving down the field, up by 4 in the fourth quarter. And yeah, definitely swung the momentum of the game. Another thing to look at, the O-line gave up some costly pressures on Mahomes. I don't have the stats on how many pressures, hits, or anything like that, but it happened quite a bit. And I noticed it even more when I watched the game for the second time. He was sacked twice. And you know, if Mahomes is sacked twice in a game, he probably, or a regular QB rather, would probably be sacked at least 6 times. If that was Matt Ryan, it would have been at least 15. So that's how you know Mahomes is legit, 1, but 2, he's getting pressured a lot. Again, Joe Thuney wasn't there, and Nick Allegretti was stepping up, but everybody kind of missed at times. I think Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith were the strong parts of the line tonight, but I'm sure if we watch it back again, I'd even find something there with them. But definitely Wiley struggled a bit. Nick Allegretti, who filled in for Joe Thuney, and Orlando Brown Jr. himself missed some stuff. I saw one play like that stands out in my head is that 3rd and 3 where Orlando Brown lost a rep as the man rushed inside. Mahomes tried to scramble. He got sacked, making it 4th and 5. And this is the play near the end of the game with Mahomes getting up, lightly limping off the field. And then Andy Reid opted to have Harrison Butker kick a 55-yard field goal. And here were Coach Reid's words on why he chose to do that.
Yeah, very similar to what we've done before. And, that's within his range. Well, if I don't think he can make it, then I'm not going to do it. It's pretty simple that way. So, but I felt like he was, he's been in a good place, and we just got to execute it better all the way around. So
he also said Mahomes' ankle didn't play a role into the decision to kick the ending 55-yarder to tie it. He just trusted Butker to kick one up for 3 points because he kind of had a hot streak going over the last couple of games. Mahomes also trusted in Butker. He trusted in Coach Reid and said if they had to do it all over again, he'd let Butker kick it again.
I'm ready for whatever coach decides. If we want to kick the field goal, I believe we have one of the best kickers in the league. So I'm going to give him the chance to kick the field goal. And if coach wants to go for it, I believe that we can make it happen as an offense. So whatever coach decides, I know he's been in these moments before. I'm going to trust in that. And we went with the field goal, and it didn't go our way this time. He's made a lot of big kicks. So this one didn't go our way. But if we're in that moment again, I trust that he'll make it.
Now, hindsight's 20/20. But, dude, if I could have that back 4th and 5, give the ball to Mahomes and let them keep moving the chains, and let's go down and win this freaking game. Because you kick that field goal and you tie the game, the defense was really struggling to stop Joe Burrow and company. They could have possibly anyway drove down the field and kicked a game-winning field goal. I don't know that. We will never know that. But that's looking like what would have happened anyway if they just tried to tie it with a field goal. The last thing I have here on my list of not so good things is going to be coaching. Not all the way around, but definitely at times where you just look at the TV like, we're fans watching. We don't see all the angles. We don't know all the plays. And I'm not the smartest guy in the room, no expert by any means, but the Chiefs coaching staff has to take some blame here as well. This is the 3rd time losing to the same team, and the Chiefs do not lose all that often. You have to be firing on all cylinders to beat a team like the Bengals. That includes coaching, offense, defense, special teams, and limiting turnovers. But the Chiefs have a few mishaps, like kicking for 3 instead of getting a TD earlier in the game, Kelce fumbling, missing a lot of tackles, and also missing the game-tying field goal. A team as good as the Bengals, they're going to make you pay if you make even just small mistakes in a game like that. And there's not really much to be said here other than the Chiefs should learn from this, I hope, take their best foot forward while preparing for a divisional opponent in the Bengals. Nick Bolton had a good line in his presser when asked about what a loss like this does for the team, and I thought it was good enough to let y'all hear it.
Oh, man, start all over. We got a lot of things we can fix. It's hard to correct things when you're winning. So you can go back to the drawing board. We can build on things we did right, and there's a lot of things we can clean up. Be better at going down the stretch.
So yeah, this loss is not the end of the world by any means, but I did feel like a win here would have been an excellent boost of confidence for these guys after losing twice to them last year. But it is what it is. Mahomes is 0-3 against Burrow. Burrow's great. Jamar Chase, fantastic. They got some ballers on the defense, and this was also without them having Joe Mixon, their running back as well. P. Ryan was playing lights out. He ran for over 100 yards, I believe, in the game. So man, all I can do is tip my cap to a great team. Yet, the Chiefs are 9-3, still fighting for the first seed in the AFC. I believe they were 9-3 last year at this time. And I believe the Bills currently have the 1 seed right now with the tiebreaker over KC. But again, not the end of the world. The Chiefs are still chasing for first seed. It's not over. There's still more than likely very, very, very high percentage that they're going to win the AFC West once again and make it to the playoffs. And there's a lot of season left. The Chiefs will just need to take it 1 week at a time, kind of like Vin Diesel used to live his life a quarter mile at a time.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Okay, enough of that. Make sure to let me know your thoughts on this game. Key takeaways, good, bad, ugly, this or that in the comments down below. And let's fight about it down there per usual. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?